Okay, so for the second time in 130-ish videos, I have just ditched a video. I have just spent another 40 minutes, a little bit earlier this afternoon, going round in perfect circles. I'm still with this problem of the rect buttons absolutely behaving differently to the normal buttons. Now I think I know what the problem is. I think, I think I know. And I think that the problem is not very complicated. It's that in Monkey, when uh, when uh, 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 when I try to instantiate a class, and that class has multiple constructors, as is the case in my button, all of the constructors are called. Now, it certainly seems that that's what's happening. I don't want to sit here and do a test, write a new piece of test code to figure that out. Honestly, I don't. One of the problems, in a way, is that I can't open multiple, I don't believe I can open multiple instances of Monkey to the IDE. You know, possibly there's something here about switching between projects which would make things easier for me. Recent projects, yeah. Anyway. A thing that I can do, and the thing that makes me certain that that is what's happening, is that setup called on a gadget does something that basically never happens again to the gadget, which is that its parent is set without unsetting a parent, which has always seemed fine, because I have imagined setup being called when a gadget is instantiated inside a gadget's own constructor. But what can occur here is, it seems, that this can be called multiple times. Now I have tried to declare that my button new is virtual and that new rect button overrides it. That has not solved the problem, and I can, I think, demonstrate it. I don't think I've done anything else to break the code in the meantime. I will check this again, but I'm sure that that did not. Yeah, no, we have these buttons which remain. This indicates to me that these buttons have been added twice to a parent, or added to two parents. Now, there are a lot of consequences, possible consequences, like just imagining my code just now. Let's say that this is the case, that I'm not able to stop. I mean, I've used, inheritance and having one class extend another multiple times. I use it all the time, but it just so happens, coincidentally, that either I have only wanted to new the lowest level of a class, or it's been the case that I've explicitly wanted to call every constructor in order, as is the case in my other kind of more complicated code, where all of my constructors are under tight orders to do absolutely nothing except a very specific set of things, one of which is call their own super constructor. So, what this means, so basically I think this is it. I don't think I can override a new. I think I get every new effectively, I think. Or I get the top new. I I don't know. I don't think that because I think this is being added twice. Now, my initial instinct is that I want to do one of two things. Either arrange setup such that it can be called multiple times, but my instinct is against that because do I really want to be doing all this when actually it's like I'm amazed this is even I suppose this accepts this has I guess I'm really baffled by this, to be fair. And my instinct is not to safeguard setup against being called multiple times, or maybe to do that, I suppose, but that actually I should make a my button base, which my button is the coziest, like the most normal version of. And it will be called like button base, the same way I have window base. And I realised that I was looking through all these virtual, volatile, many of them expand one another, but only the lowest level has a new. Like the menu extends volatile panel. Am I right about this even? Yeah, volatile panel extends virtual panel. Volatile has no new. Virtual panel extends gadget. God, I hope I am right about this. Yes, and has no new. So, the simple or the easy job would be to just go into setup and say, oh, unparent this gadget if it already has a parent, which is probably something I should do anyway. In fact, I definitely should, along with generate a little error message saying, oh, setup called twice. In fact, wouldn't that be a very simple thing to do? I have a new gadget. It's just sitting there like that. God, everything's got a new. Right here I'll say if node debug write setup called on gadget with node assigned. Now watch it happen 100 times. Please, God, I really hope it doesn't actually, because that is bad news. Okay, well, nothing so far. If I'm right, when this is called, I'll get 6 of those or something like that. Ha! Gotcha! Oh, 7, eh? Well, that's right, because there's a plus button as well now. Right. Okay. So, I'm going to do the responsible thing then. And the responsible thing is this. To boost this forward and to say node remove and node equals null and end. I never want to see that, ideally, but at least if it does happen, this gadget will have only one parent. That's what was giving me the ghost gadgets sitting around there on the desktop. Mysterious and chilling bugs caused by, of course, just things. Right, so that's the first thing I want to do. The next thing I want to do is the responsible thing and say my button, you're about to explode. And there will be a new class, and it will be called button base. extend gadget. And actually my button will extend button base and will do virtually nothing, because everything is going to come out of my button and is going to go into button base. I would really love, oh look, there's part of my little experiments. I'd really love to have my mouse wheel just now, but anyway. All of this is the functioning of a button. Most of it is to do with what to do with the text and icon when it gets resized. You have a problem with this? No. The thing button base doesn't do is new. It basically stores everything. But my button is the thing that does new. Everything else, my button relies on button base. And I think bare button actually extends button base. And rect button equally extends button base. Now if I have figured this right, I shouldn't have to change my other code. I'm just going to run it. I'm so sure I've missed out big parts of that. Ah, well, according to this, what I've written makes sense. Excuse me. Excuse me, I am going to smoke, future self. So, yeah, apparently what I did, the rest of the code is allowed to work. That is what I intended. That's what I hoped would happen when I made those changes. And now, I expect those buttons to behave just the same as the original buttons behaved. I don't expect multiple calls for setup on individual gadgets. Hold your breath. Buttons, visible, responding, image viewer, look at it behave itself. There is no latest. I can load woohoo. The correct buttons appear. The correct buttons respond. It goes away. Thank flip. And no, something is still being called with root as parent, but I don't give a damn. I think it's the load button, the load option actually. And it still happens with these too. Some part of that, and I'm not sure which it is, but I've got to find it. Anyway, now I get to do the last bit of this, which is making these things look the way they're actually supposed to. Boy oh boy. My mouse is terrible. Yeah, making these things look the way they're supposed to, which is to say, a transparent box. That's all this was about. To make these more appropriate for a viewing tool. Bloody hell. And also to hide the things while I click the button. Right, fine. This, whatever it is, it's going away. Okay, so now I have my button exists exactly as it was, but I can also do a bare button and a rect button, and they work, well, they will work fine. I'm going to come across other little problems with them as I go on, but right. Now, here's another thing I'll do, is I'll say global default default color GIMP new G color, which I will set to be for now like 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, comma 0.4. Strange. No, I'll make it 0.5, and this maybe 0.5 as well. Nah, 0.4. That can be set. I won't bother doing that. I'll stick it down here. That can be set elsewhere, and that's a good enough way of doing it for me. It's not a very good way of doing it, actually. I should... the heck with it. I want that to be easy to set because I want to play with it. Now, once this... Okay, yeah, actually, you know something? Don't run again. Not just yet. Let me just do this. Pung gadget response. Nah, what was it? Work? Yeah. I'll do this. I think this does work. It just didn't before. We'll see. Maybe I'll even do a render and see if it'll open. Okay, there's still one last... Oh, that was such a massive detour. It's been a frustrating day because that was just ignorance of what it was doing, and I know that if I was capable of using a debugger like a normal person... Where's the frame? Oh, it's in there. Right. Delete that. What's my render options? I'm on 13 recursions because I was doing something simple before. I'll go all the way down to 8, 9, and I will give it a render. There's nothing there at all. I'm guessing that that is because I have this at 500. Well, there's really nothing there at all. I'm hoping it's because I've got that at 500. We'll soon see. Yeah, okay, good. And there are the buttons with a transparent box. The plus isn't affected, so I have to get that affected. And the buttons respond real nice. They maybe look a little bit too transparent, but maybe not really. So, and here I have the option again of opening the latest. Takes a moment to load. That's the debugger makes a huge difference to the loading speed, I have noticed. Or seems to. I assume I have the debugger running. I do. Huh. It doesn't do that thing I spoke about. When I scroll off the screen, the things do stay away. It's not a massive problem. And I can do something to get around it, but I don't think I'm going to just now. I must make a less cheesy X. That's sort of appropriate for a different icon set I'd made. Okay, so the things that need to happen are I want to solid these up a bit, I guess. Not quite as transparent as they are. The white font looks pretty dim at that scale as a result, I think, of the MIP mapping. let me see my time. Okay. So where do I want to put the open latest button? And that should be more of a sort of, oh, it's only pressed that, okay, interesting. Right, okay, anyway. This should brighten up more, I think, I feel like. Open latest is going to come down here, yeah. So when this, yeah, when this, yeah, actually. If I load an image like woohoo, yeah, open latest is still there. That is, I mean, that's the way it should be, I guess. This needs to be less transparent, yeah, so that you can see the text more clearly. And maybe it should be white and transparent with black text. Does that make sense? Dropping frames here. I'm going to check my... I was up at 56, pretty high. I wonder if it's going to come back down. It is. Beautiful. Okay, so, more opaque gadgets include the plus button, the add view button in the hide show process. The open latest bottom right next to load, and get a bit of text in there that shows what you're currently looking at, and have it also shown and hidden. And then I will call this, oh, that's not good. I say it's not good, it just went really slow. Again, I've got a combination of FFmpeg running and the debugger, which does, as I say, seem to make a huge difference to loading times. It makes a huge difference to the speed generally. Oh, okay, no, that's just, that's okay. Phew. I was seeing these things and thinking, oh my god, is that more gadgets being called? But it's not. Gadgets with setup being called, already having been given a parent. Right. So, Pung gadget needs a new thing. It needs these to go away and never ever darken my brain again. I'll leave that as a reminder that one day it may come back. Now, the new thing it needs is path text. And I think that that's a G-text thing, is it? Or is it a label? It's a label. My label, is it? Yeah. Because I want this to be part of the GUI, so that it gets destroyed and is positionable and everything. Yeah. No. I think that I'm going to have to stick it in there and justify it right. Does that make sense? It's going to be banged up against the close button. But if I do that, it means that it's the end of the path that's visible. I don't think I was clever enough to put ellipses in when a string escapes its gadget. Maybe I did in some cases. Don't think I really did. It's going to look strange. It'll be banged up against the, yeah, like I say, banged up against the close button. But I think I'm okay with that for now. The main thing I want is to be able to see it. First off though, open latest is going to change position. I'll start with these ones for now. But for now I will also stick in this. I'll call it path label actually. Would be more sensible. Right. Finally kind of something sort of back to normality. Nothing in there just now. X is going to be CX and CY because CX and CY are currently set up for where the open button was. The width, I'm wanting it to be face width minus button height plus minus button height plus bar times 2. Yeah, so it's basically the width of it, but with a little space for the close button that's stuck at the end. Height, button height. And I'm going to hope that if I just say font medium, I would hope it's going to be font medium anyway. I feel the need to check, because God knows I made some idiotic choices. GUI, yeah. My label. Yeah, it's going to be font medium anyway, so that's fine. I will just leave it out. Okay, and path label align sides locked low on the left, high on the right, and low on the top and bottom, and also path label justify right. Open latest. I will bring that where? I want to stick it somewhere where it's going to kind of... I'm going to put it in here. And I'm going to take this. CY is still set up from there. I'm going to put this here. Face width minus button width plus bore times 2. What? I didn't mean to put that there. In fact, oh my god, I'm going to have to go all the way back. Right, this, come away from here. Right, in here. Stick that, this times 2.0. Then, CX plus equals button width plus bar. And I think that that's it. I'm already down the bottom with CY. Then I set CX to be 2 buttons and 2 borders away from the right hand side. Then I move it across a button and border width for the load button. Then I shift it up a button height and border for the save. Now, I get to kind of rid myself of this distressing stuff, which is pretty pleasing. Now, quickly have to remember that update gadgets needs to have add button hidden. Hang on. No, that shows in this case, because yeah, you might always want to show another thing, and it shows in this case because yeah, the only time the add button disappears is when everything's gone. Huge. Hide. In new, actually I will have a, I will say do I need to say anything? Like maybe it is just path label. What horrible thing did I say? Oh yeah, I do use text, that's nice. I got with a program. I'll leave it like that just now. And in not response, update matrix or show controls, not update gadgets, nor work. It's in load pung. Path label text equals equals latest. Here I say path label text equals latest render. Here I say path label text equals p, and in here I say path label text equals . Let's give it a go. Oh, well, there's other things I should have done first. And actually, maybe I need to put something. Oh man, and I also need to hide the label. Stop! Don't bother! Don't bother! Don't bother! Let me just do this because I know I should. Path label hide. Path label show. There's a better way to do this, and I know what it is. Path label show. Having made my zones insensitive, I could stick all this in a zone in front of the damn gadget. I could even stick them in a cup. Well, yeah, stick them all. Yeah. Basically, it'd be easier to switch on and off a large number of them. There's a little bit of subtlety because there's some differences, but anyway. Making this has been quite stressful feeling. That bug was extremely annoying. It wasn't even really a bug, it's just me misunderstanding what it's doing. And okay, what you got for me? Yeah, that's not much use. Very, very tiny, very, very dim. The rest looks like it's working okay. If I pop this open, okay, there's no button. That's not much use. So, what do I can make the text white, obviously, that will help in this instance, but not against a bright image. Ah, man. It's like, really, I need to... Am I going to get into breaking label up into something like this? I suppose I could just say with label a background. I could have you state if you want a background. Is that the wisest thing to do? I think it is, and actually the background there would look would be a wise thing to do. Let me see how it looks with a... Yeah, actually actually, I'll stick a little extra space in. There's not enough space between the end of the label and the button. But actually, maybe I should just make it a light up thing like this. In fact, that's just what I'm going to do, and it's going to have no purpose other than to be nicer looking. And I'm pretty sure that would justify right fine as well. In fact, all I have to do is say this is not a label, it's a rect button. I'll call it a label because it's effectively a label. Equals new rect button. Self CXCY face, yeah, and the new rect button's fine like that, that's fine, and this is as it should be. Also, this needs to be ×3 because I got a little border at the right, at the left hand end, sorry. Now this CY is the correct value. CX, and CX gets set here again to be face width minus button width plus border ×2. Button width plus border ×2. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 0, is that a problem? I think it is. It should be 1, 1, 1, 1. Like the load and other button. When those things change size, they'll just get flicked off the screen, and they're changing size almost immediately because the image viewer is arranging the views. So these things kind of get set up to be the size of their container gadget, their parent gadget, but then they can be resized. As they are, they need to be by image viewer. And I want to get in there and make the boxes a little bit more solid, I think. Much better. That could be the load, you know, but maybe I won't bother. And this seems to work. Can add another image, load, a cursor image. Yeah, I definitely need to make that less transparent so that the text stands out better. But generally, that is almost exactly how I have imagined this working. And I'm able to close this and say open latest and just get straight back to this. Make it fit, be pleased enough, and close it. Close the bad boy, get into GUI, have a little look at rect button, and make this more like 0.8 and this more like 0.3, but this actually more like 0.7. And I must turn off the debugger again because I'm just a wild man. It's how I live life on the edge. What's the next thing then? Let's see what it's like with a yeah, it's not bad. Usable enough, I suppose. Could probably be better, actually. Pretty pleased. Pretty pleased. That's how it works. That's how I wanted it. I want to be able to see individual pixels. I don't want to have any blurring, even though that would probably be used often and be useful. I want, in this, for the purposes of this, I want to be able to look at pixels and know for sure what I'm seeing. I still feel actually like the white font, this font in white, is just too delicate. And I'm not sure. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do first is I will, let's put the debugger off because that's fun. And I'll go to this and I will be a little bit brave. I'd reduce this down. I'll stick that up to 22. It really starts to look bulky quickly at this low resolution. Let me check my... Okay, I'm going to stop soon. It starts to look bulky quickly at this low resolution, but actually 22 is probably fine at 1920. Let's see how it looks. And just see if it brings it up to a point where that white text is just a little bit more solid. Oh, the debugger's off. Changing from debugger on to debugger off means long compiles. And this Pung gadget is going to be the basis of my my next project, which will be something to replace this type of program to use in my next project, which is one of half a dozen things, but I want a really simple drawing program that's so sort of instantaneous to use. There's far too many clicks using this, like 1, 2, and most of these, some of these maybe I would use once in a while. I want a single list of things that one click and I'm getting what I want anyway. Well, yeah, it's gone bulky. Much faster to open without the debugger. And this looks a bit better, I must admit, I think. It's very slight. I mean, wow, it's still... It's like it's not very solid looking, what can I say? I think I'm going to leave it at that, though I'm not going to play around with it more. Things could be done. Is it just my imagination, or is this I don't know. I always think... Anyway, I think it looks fine. I'm pleased. Very pleased, to be fair. And just out of curiosity, I'll overwrite woohoo. Yes, I do. And there it is. A delight, frankly. Kind of curious about this, although suppose, yeah, I mustn't forget. Let me have a little look at this. Look at that. It's kind of just... Why is it taking so little? I'd quite like to be able to keep the task manager on top. Always on top. What? That's so difficult for you to... Now I'm baffled. Well, so does it go back to taking up more time when I... It's having an easy time of it. and back down to 40. I just think it's fine. I should stop fussing. Okay. Right. So, I think I should consider that done. I think I really should. There is still, occasionally it seems to want to open up a pair of images, and I don't know why. It's really not a problematic bug, but it's an annoying thing. Okay, stop playing. I think that the next thing I might do is redesign the icons. It's a small thing. I need to practice with GIMP. I need a change of pace after today because I want to do more this evening. I want to get more done. But today has been a real struggle. A lot of just confusion. And one of those situations where when I guess a couple of hours ago I started to think, oh, I begin to see what the problem must be here. And when I started to understand what the problem was, I realized this was not a situation where I was going to feel a lot of happiness when I fixed it. It was just frustrating to realize, really just frustrating to realize that I'd spent all day just in a state of ignorance, you know. If I'd known how it was that Monkey, and possibly plenty of other languages, you know, for all I know, Monkey seems to have a lot of parallels, partly with C, but partly with C#. Would do this thing with the constructors, and I just have known, but I didn't know, so. And that's after years of using them in all sorts of ways. Anyway, never mind. I like the way it looks. I like the way this looks. I like the fact that this is slightly distinct looking to the other, but that the things in it are fairly practical. I love being able to compare. I don't know how often I'll use this really, but I love being able to do it. And also, this really will form the basis of that, of a little paint program. It'll look very like this. Equally, I think it'll have multiple images open at once. Anyway. So, I'm going to go very soon, but first I'm going to go up to the top of this. And I'm going to call that done, and done, and done, and done. Okay. List of done things growing. These things still are to do, and I need to think about the next to do things. I'll leave this. Does that exist? I believe it does. Redo icons. Next time. Something else though. What's a couple of other things? Really the very next thing is to get back into the renderer and implement the scaling. At least implement it as I have defined it. I have realized there are some other things I need to be able to do, particularly with the gradient render. I need to be able to get it to output the data bank when I want to. I don't want to do it every time, but sometimes I do. And implement render gradient array scaling. I've got it written up there, yeah, array entry division. It's really this, okay. But this, not that. That is what I will be doing next time.